Hello, I'm Stefan, and the title of the video is PowerGrade versus LUTs. And I know a lot of people who claim that the PowerGrade is always better, that everything a LUT does can be also done with the native tools in DaVinci Resolve. But that's not true, and sometimes a PowerGrade can damage our image more than a LUT. And in this video I want to demonstrate that. So first I will show you some film stills, and when we look at film, we see deep, rich red tones, whereas digital recordings can often appear very bright. And in this test image I have inserted a red bar at the bottom, and I will now try to transform this red bar into a deep red, and only the red without affecting other colors. The first method is to go to U versus U and lower the luminance, and also the saturation. So this looks pretty good. I don't transform the red to the deepest color, just I use this color as my target. And in the second version I apply a LUT. Now I apply the U versus U version to some real-world footage, and we see that the skin tone looks grayish. And for comparison, I now apply the LUT to our image and toggle the LUT on and off, and we see that the skin tone looks way better than the U versus U modification. To better understand what's going on, it's a good idea to simply apply the grading to our test image. And we'll see that we get a similar deep red in the middle with both variants. But if we look in the highlight area of our image, we see that the U versus U modification results in grayish colors, which is why the skin tone also turns gray. In this comparison, the LUT gives us cleaner results. Let's move on to another example. In this scene, I want the blue to look more like cyan. And the first thing I do is to use U versus U. If I select the blue color and increase the value, the color moves more towards cyan. If I move it down, the color blue moves more towards magenta. So let's move it up and see what's happening. What actually happens is that when I try to shift the blue towards cyan, everything turns greener. For comparison, here's a LUT that shifts blue towards cyan differently, and we are getting much closer to our goal. And let's apply both methods to our test image. On the left I'm using U versus U, and we see it's turning green. And on the right side I have a LUT where I'm increasing the key output, and we are getting a different results from the LUT. So what we've learned is that a LUT or external other tools allows us to manipulate color differently using different math. And that is all. Sometimes it can be better, sometimes not. It depends. It can be quite helpful to look at a grade on a test image and just experiment with the tools that Resolve provides. And then you might find out that the native tools also have limits and might be more destructive than a LUT. So that's it. I hope you learned something new. Have a nice day and see you next time.